Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. It's Paula Nutting, your musculoskeletal specialist, and it's our this month's Ask Me Anything, where I managed to get the brilliance of therapists who have designed and created the journeys that have allowed massage therapists, myotherapists, and general body workers to really become fantastic specialists in their fields. And today I am so excited to be able to have a chat with Judith Aston. So Judith Aston has been around in the industry since the mid-1970s. She's got great legs in the industry in her ability to be able to see and feel and read the body, and then be able to give ways that they can gently we can gently manipulate and move them into a painless, free body. So anyway, I'm going to call Judith on so she can explain a little bit more who Judith Aston is, what Aston Kinetics is, what Aston Patterning is, and all of the amazing things that she can possibly offer you guys for this hour's special journey. So Judith, come on board.
Hello, mate. All the way over to you from Lake Tahoe, Nevada.
Yeah, it's winter there now? Yeah.
No, not yet. In fact, it's been very warm in the 80s and 90s here at 7,000 feet, and it's been 100 in Reno, Nevada. But so it'll get really snowy by probably November.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yes. That's right. Yeah, I'm kind of getting myself backwards and forwards. So first of all, everybody, I keep forgetting to say this, but this is a live chat, which means this is your opportunity to type in the chat box and ask questions, because I'll see them in the comment section, and then I can ask Judith if she could unpack and help you. So this is not just a let's sit and listen in awe. This is a get down and dirty. So really, if you feel like getting in and having a chat to Judith, now is your time, folks, because she is pretty hard to get hold of with all your courses and everything. Judith, tell me, I was reading Judith Aston Kinetics and fascial kinetics and Aston Patterning. What's the background? Where did you come from, and how did you design these?
And how did I what?
And how did you design the different kinetics and fascial and patterning and fitness, on and on and on? You're a little ever-ready bunny.
Oh, well. So I was hired to teach at a college in 1963, and they gave me the physical education department, the theater department, and the music department to create programs for. And so I didn't have any rule book. They just said create. So I started to investigate what was happening with these athletes and musicians and actors and so on. And often they just didn't really know about the human body. Mm-hmm. And then during that time, I was in a very serious car accident, actually 2 within 1 year. And this friend told me I should go see Dr. Rolf.
Oh, wow.
1968, and she was coming to Big Sur. And so she was busy and full, but I sat on her doorstep for 2 days waiting for a cancellation. Luckily, my friends worked at Aston in Big Sur, and they told Ida not to worry. I wasn't a bad person sitting on her doorstep. I was waiting for a cancellation, and I was hired by leaders of growth center and emotional and psychiatrists and so on. They would do weekends, and they would hire me to come and work with the group in movement.
Wow.
And what happened was a lot of people don't know about their body pattern being an obvious expression of an emotion that they may not feel, but it looks like that, and people interact with them that way. So a lot of people, this in some countries is very appropriate to have the chest down. Mm. It's very appropriate. But some people interact with that as appearing to be sad or unhappy or something like that.
Yeah.
So all of these things were contributing to my knowledge because I had to create programs based on the questions.
Mm.
And Dr. Rolf said in the very first session, I understand you create movement programs for leaders. I said, I do. She said, well, could you create one for my work called Rolfing, Structural Integration? And I said, sure. And I got up and took my bags and started to leave. And she said, I'm sorry, where are you going? And I said, I'm driving back to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
we have to come up with a plan. And that's how it started. And I created 3 programs for her, teaching the therapist to see body patterns. Here's why. This particular body pattern,
oh, yeah, we all see that.
so you all see that. The person complains, my back hurts.
Yeah.
And so people often want to work on the back.
Yeah.
But could it be downloaded by the chest so much that it gets all that extra effort and weight and movement, motion down from here? You might have to work on the chest first to unload the low back. So when people see, like, for example, this pattern could also come from the hyperextension of the legs with the pelvis forward and your chest back, for example. And people are here working and here working. It could be that the legs, because of their athletic daily practice, is so tight that not only do they need the body worker to do work, they need to learn how to do their own body work, which I teach as well.
Okay, I've got 2 questions because this is we've got a little bit of background. I might just get someone in the back to fix that up. That's not you, Judith. That's my end. So 2 things. Oh my God, this is like my brain is falling up. Ethnicity. So the ethnicity of the person. We know that in Asian cultures, that's the common stance is that there's a dominance. But do you think that those people, as a race, they've developed that there's no emotions held to that?
Yeah, it can be, absolutely.
So therefore, there's no pain behind because there's no emotion behind it. I mean, in that kind of space, because I see lots of Asian Chinese, because in Australia we have Southeast Asia, they don't come in with pain from that. I don't believe they come in with other dysfunctions.
So many times what happens when people can read the body pattern is they see these connections, and as they start to ask the client about it, some horrific things sometimes appear. Like, yes, that's where that accident happened, and it was made worse because the person drove off and left me dealing with this injury from the car crash. And I had to wait, I had to get an ambulance, etc. And then they start to talk, and you feel the emotion that they have. They feel they were better when it was kind of hidden. Yeah. But actually, people don't know it's ongoing. It appears hidden, maybe, or they want it hidden. But the point is, it's still activated. So if this pattern that I demonstrated earlier, that the person is really held, but really, really strong. They work out all the time. They shorten their body even more from the accident as they do all this weight training and so on and so forth. they don't know the importance of coming out of it, so that the next time you start your workout, you start in a fuller place, starts to heal some of that old pattern of compression and anger and consequence. So sometimes it's just, people will walk in and they stumble, and you can see there was nothing there exactly, but they'll put themselves down. They say, yeah, I always stumble. I'm so clumsy. And you go, oh my goodness, okay, let's see. And you look at them and you watch them walk, and you see one leg is longer than the other. It happens to be the one that they stumble on. So the piece there, it's not always true, by the way, I'm just giving an example. I'm angling so that, because if I come right across from you, Paula, I'm not on the screen. So is this an okay angle for you?
When you sit normally, you're fully on the screen.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So
it's bizarre.
That's what became so important in teaching the students at the college, because a lot of them at 18 years old did not know how their own body was, and yet they were trying to portray someone who was strong and powerful, and they walked on stage like this. Hark! And everyone would start laughing. And they'd say, see, I shouldn't go into acting. Everybody's laughing at me. And I say, do you know what you're doing with your body? Let me help you learn how to put on a different characterization. So interestingly, all these things that I had to learn for the hospital, for the college, and for working with the psychiatrist with his patients, it just led me into this kind of problem solving that I love to try to figure things out.
Yeah, so people are armoring. We're self-armoring with the emotion. Is that is that the simplified way to say it? I'm protecting myself in putting myself into a position that is serving me badly, but serving me against dealing with the stress.
Yeah, and that's a good point about protection or honoring or armoring, because once you start working with a person, they can learn how to tone up their body. Can you just see that I added a whole bunch of tone? I didn't add threat. I just added a bunch of tone right now. And that's because I'm pushing off my feet on the ground. I'm asking the earth to help me. I'm not just letting it come through me. I'm pushing on the earth, and it's toned everything in here. Yeah. So I feel this boundary protection if I need it, or I can relax. But the point is, as people learn simple ways to honor what is, change what's possible, and negotiate what's not.
Okay. Can you repeat that? That was brilliant.
Well, when people learn to listen, to honor what is, and when something is able to change and it's negotiable, you can work with it, you can play with it, you can use all kinds of techniques that people give us to let go of anger or fear or what have you. But lastly, if you can't change it, there's probably a way to negotiate it. And that negotiation, so for example, when a person says, but Judith, my right leg is 1.5 inches shorter since the accident and the surgery. And I say, I know. Would it be okay if we add 1 inch to your shoe on the right? Would that be okay? And we do it. And they walk and they say, okay, the rest of my body, okay. The rest of my body doesn't do, it just goes along at the same length as my other leg. Thank you for that tip, Judith.
They're the simplest things, and people, it's almost like it's common sense for us. We don't work out why nobody else has actually thought that through.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And then you have to correct the pain that's associated with the holding patterns whilst they've had a short leg for 3.5 years, and then the pain goes away after that. Because my belief, we have a thing where we talk about functional scoliosis. So functional scoliosis might be functionally there, and then when we try to straighten it up, the pain goes away. But if it's a structural scoliosis and we try to straighten them, then they have more pain because we're trying to make the body, the skeleton, go into a position that it was never designed to go into. Do you have ways that we can help people that have got structural scoliosis with movement patterns and the Aston Kinetic paradigm?
Well, one of the things that's so fun for me is there are many ways to facilitate improvement, difference, energy, strength, range of motion. There are just so many ways to go about that. And as you have some of these techniques and you explore with them, you get to try out with people and they make the decisions. They say, oh, that's great. No, that just changed everything. And you'll be inhaling to start to say one more thing. They say, no, that's perfect. And you go, okay, I can be quiet on a second. So, yeah. So
reading through your bio a bit, and says that it's a dynamic three-dimensional model of movement and posture. And I love that definition because that's really what we are trying to achieve is not something linear, because the body's not linear. But there's a line that says the ability to see the body in stillness and motion. So when we think about massage therapists who get the client on the table and they measure them up and then they whack them on the table and they're not moving for the treatment time, how do we manage that? What's your thought?
I think this connects with what you just said a moment ago, which there's a piece there where people in therapy are taught techniques and treatment plans to correct people.
Yeah.
And many times I find what happens with them is that they go into the body and try to lengthen it or widen it or what have you to make it correct. And what I try to teach people is to learn to listen to the tissue. I think all tissue has a brain, and if you're paying attention to it, you can work with it. You're not doing cross friction, you're not tearing anything, you're not digging in on a direction that it doesn't go, and it changes so quickly. So that's what I teach people in the bodywork world, is how to read brain, how to palpate, how to say, this is hypotonic, this is hypertonic. The hypertonic is more controlling. No, the hypotonic is more controlling. Let's do some toning work first. So that's why we have so many classes, because I kept having to create these other classes for people to have things that weren't the usual way of doing exercise. Like,
yeah, look at that rock and roll spiral.
For example. And so, and as I say, then they finish, it's really cute because I've worked with so many of them. They finish, they put down the weights and they walk to you, you say, yeah, I can see that. So would it be all right if I just teach you how to re-lengthen so that you could start your day?
Yeah, wow.
A neutral body.
So when you're saying that you caught up with Ida Rolf and then she helped you with your injuries and then asked you to develop. So did she just, what was the link to that? She has, because I don't know Rolfing. I've met 1,000 Rolfers, but Rolfing didn't really integrate to Australia as widely as it has. It's slowly moving in here, but not really. So Rolfing is specific. Is it like 10-step?
I think so. I haven't done it for so many decades, but yes, there was a 10-session series, and then she developed a 4-session advanced series, and then I'm sure by now there are many other things. What she wanted me to do was to create a movement program that would help people keep the Rolf line.
Okay, got it.
And
Got
so
it.
that was one of the courses. And then teaching the practitioners in training to see body patterns. And thirdly, to teach people in what the movement work was that I ended up creating for her so that clients could keep the work. So
Okay.
three courses.
Yeah, wow. And I'm sitting here going, which I've got to bring one shoulder up because you'll be staring at me. Like,
No, we all have our asymmetries. Yeah.
we all become
I'm
voyeurs.
telling you the fact that our camera is over there and I'm looking at you. It's a little bit off. You tell me if you want me to move the camera. So
You are absolutely fine. But what gets me is that it's mirror image. So if I look this way, I'm actually not looking at you. But I'm
yes,
looking at you.
yes, correct.
We did get that fixed at one stage. We just got to get that re-sorted again. But that's tech stuff, not the other. I've got pages and pages of really, because I want to know so many things. There was some really cool testimonials that I was reading on your website. And there was one where this fellow said that he felt after having a session with you, or the difference in his relationship to gravity. Now I get that that's what you said about that ground reaction force. So the feeling of where your feet are is. Can you expand on that? Because I love that kind of.
Yes. So when I was little, I think I started studying ballet and dance and tap and everything else when I was 7. Anyway, and you were taught that you had to plie in order to leap, right? You had to
Yep.
plie. And I remembered that, and I started looking at all the people that I was training. I would go out to my car to get something. I'd walk into class, and everybody would they jump into their best posture, right? And I go, oh, I forgot something in my car. I'll just be back in a moment. I'd go out, I'd wait a couple of seconds, and I'd walk back and like this, and I'd say, you know what? This one was so important to me. This was early on in the 60s. It was probably 68, 69. And I said, this is wrong. If when I walk in, you jump into tension because you think it's correct. And they said, yeah, well, we're trying to keep the Rolf line. I said, I understand, but the tension, there's something wrong here. And as I started playing with it, I realized I remembered this experience of dancing. And so the plie and the jump, right?
Mm.
So I started to explore this and I called it the push off. So I would say, okay, class, so now you want to do this with me, Paula?
Yes. I'm wearing my golf skirt, but I'll do my best. And anyone else that's out there, if you want to give this have a shot.
Okay, so now let me see. Okay, so now as you're standing there, go ahead and inhale, let the air come up. And now, when you get above the top of your head, start sensing about this gravity that when you relax, the head weights the neck, and the neck the chest, chest the abdomen, abdomen the pelvis, pelvis the thighs, thighs the lower leg, and eventually all the body segments, including the arms, are weighting down on the feet.
Yeah.
So go ahead, inhale again, exhale and feel the weight even more. Exhale and just feel your weight settle down on your feet. Bend your knees slightly. Just bend the knees slightly. Push down on the feet. Push down on that, straightens the knee, the thigh. Every little thing will start to lengthen. Feel the up coming through your body by pushing on the feet, pushing, 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 pushing. Get to the top, inhale. Exhale, feel gravity. And you'll notice you really get more weight when you let go. You feel it on the feet.
Yeah.
But you then say, hey, GRF, ground reaction force, let me bend my knees so I can push off my feet to start the up phase of the strength and support coming up the body. Inhale at the top and settle and see if you feel a little differently on your feet.
Definitely. The feet feel so much different.
So that's a reset.
Oh, wow. The crazy thing is when we did the first one and I broke, the exhalation and feeling the weight came down, I felt all of the places where the weight was on too much of one aspect of the foot and not enough on, like it was notable to go, wow, they're not standing at all balanced.
It's so interesting because I often have people start, and maybe people would like to do that in the audience, tomorrow morning or something, or tonight, before you go to bed, stand, like draw 2 feet, and stand and write down the right foot, the weight bearing is on the inside of the foot and the big toe, and on the left foot, it seems to be on the outside of the left foot and left toe, or all my weight's on my heels, or all my weight's on the balls of the feet. Yeah. And then you do the exercise we just did, and you compare.
Yeah, it completely changed. 3 breaths. It had completely changed to feeling less of anything. Like the distribution felt like it was just kind of, there wasn't a heaviness in one section.
Great.
I mean, there's still, it ain't fixed, honey, but it was a little bit better.
Well, one of the reasons it may seem like a small thing, but one of the reasons it's so important is the weight bearing on our feet is the weight bearing probably from working all day.
Yeah. Yes.
For example, being right-handed, doing a certain thing. And so it's an indication of dominance. So when you neutralize, you get to start fresh again.
Yeah, wow. So for people out there who might have any aches and pains, that's a worthy thing to do just before bed or just getting up in the morning? Just to
Good.
Yeah. There was another comment that somebody made in here that said it regulates his emotions. Can you talk to that? Because I love the fact there's a few testimonial things that say that you've helped with their emotions. They feel more balanced, internally calm. How does kinetics?
I think most of us would agree that emotion affects our physiology as well. It affects our tension patterns. Sometimes when people feel like lost hope, they don't get tight. They go into mush. Everything is hopeless. I'll never be able to get out of this. We have so many ways that we file away emotion. So when you have some tools that assist you to be able to experience your whole body as we just did in that simple exercise, experience the ground reaction moving up all the segments, experience the weight of gravity coming down and feeling, oh, I can let my head and neck go. I've been holding it up all day. I didn't even know I was holding it up. And so just letting it settle, everything becomes kind of relaxed. And suddenly there's a lot of weight on the feet. What this does, as you do this and combine it with the breath, it's like it gives you these resets or these opportunities to lessen it somewhat. Sometimes for the day you've had, you need to do it 10 times. It's just that kind of day. And you go, could one more thing go wrong? I just don't want to talk to anybody or touch anything. I'm nervous. Because we all have days like that. But it's so interesting. And I find things like this are so helpful, something simple like that, to do when I'm cranked up about something and I'm about to talk to somebody about it. I'll do that first. So my weight bearing is grounded to the earth in a very lovely loving way.
Yeah.
And I can start. It's interesting how emotion sometimes lifts us off our feet on the ground, and we get all cranked up in the chest and heart and the neck and the head and the back, right?
Yeah.
And it's a hard place to problem solve from.
It's a very hard place to, and you are 100% correct. I know if I've got grandkids, and I've got one of them when she loves me and she wants to be with me, and she is so easy to pick up. But if she doesn't want to go anywhere, her weight distribution
Yes.
is turned into a lead ball.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
It's like she's attached to the ground in her emotional stoicness.
It's amazing what stiffness seems to do to create extra weight.
Yeah.
It is.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Breath work. Breath work seems to be the big thing that we probably didn't ever do a long time ago, and now all therapists talk about it. A lot of practitioners are trying to teach breath work. You talk about the breath work with the gravity. Is it just because it's a rhythmic thing, or are we working on the nervous system?
I think it probably works all the systems, but we also have different lessons that we do in terms of facilitating the breath. And also when we work with if the upper body is the main focus maybe, or the front of the body is the main focus, it could be that the way that we can work the different three angles of the intercostal muscles that attach at different angles, up and down, crisscross and crisscross. There's a way of working the tissue, as I was saying, about following grain, that you can get to so much change that's available by honoring what is rather than pushing how it should be. A lot of people have been taught that posture is something that you have to hold on to, and that's what makes it take. I don't hold that particular theory. And likewise, I don't hold that theory for bodywork. There's a way of matching what is. We just have to improve our skills to be able to listen.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. I was reading about accurate whole body assessment. Is that inclusive of what you're saying there when you're doing an accurate whole body assessment? Is how their natural pose is, or I'm just trying to work out. Yes, because you talk about in assessments, like your assessments in your courses are all about how to assess in the entire body. So I'm guessing it's not that posture that you're talking about, the ballerinas.
Right. Yeah. The piece there is that most of us, by the time we're 10 years old, we've had a lot of falls and injuries and broken thises and that's, and we don't even think about them, really. We just heal, supposedly. And yet, working with adults, all these decades that I have, those are still there. And it's so exciting to be able to, in many cases, not only add just a little bit of change, but get to a layer that is really able from a deep 40-year-ago experience, and it starts to let go. And people change, and they have these second opportunities to reevaluate how they feel, how they act, how they think, how their emotions are, because their body is this instrument that can read things and do things and use tone and use relaxation, and it's just kind of an exciting possibility.
It is exciting. This is the one thing about this work that we provide. I get up every morning excited about my day, what I can uncover, or like, oh, that's interesting and that's new. There's this beautiful description that Aubrey Gowing uses about, like, why would, if you were a stranger knocking at a door and the door's the gluteus medius or the psoas, for example, You wouldn't come smashing into the door and attacking the people that are in there. You shouldn't have the right to do that to the psoas muscle either. Like, be courteous. Ask gently if you can come into their house and see if you can assist versus break an entry.
Well, just as an aside, I teach students how to use slack by the body position to create less tension so that you can actually smoothly swim in the deeper areas without that kind of stress.
Yes, abuse. Philip Bowen made a comment about diaphragmatic breathing and diaphragmatic massage, and he teaches that all the time to his clients and patients now. So it's obviously that it's getting into that. And he's actually also asked, what are your thoughts on muscle energy techniques? So,
oh my goodness, there are.
I mean, I'm a proponent. I love an MET.
There, what did you say?
I love a muscle energy technique. I just think that we're taking them into a softness and then asking the body to produce the contraction to self-regulate. But
Yeah.
what's your thoughts?
Yes, no, I mean, I don't know the system, so I can't evaluate that way, but the theory of what is said that we share in common is that you find a way to facilitate ease in an area to be able to address it. So, for example, if you were working the psoas, you might be starting inside lying because you can create the slack and have the person roll forward to assist you to get in. So that's an example of what I'm talking about. But there's so many systems out there because there's so many creative people. And golly, they're just wonderful ideas out there. So many.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was by Fred Mitchell Sr., so we're talking about in the 80s. And it was a way to get around osteopathic, as opposed to doing high end range thrusts. They would do joint METs just to soften it at a joint level. But enough of that. That's I love the slack. I love that we are starting to think it's not elbow in, it's let's get permission to feel and allow the muscles and aggressive cross fiber friction. That's
and so it isn't that you can't use your elbows and you can't use your forearm and so on and so forth, or the back of your hand here and so on. It isn't that you can't use those tools. It's how you get to the layer to listen to it, to follow it, to match it, to see if it's ready to change. And that has so much to do with people's body usage. So one of the things that was with me when I was working way back in the 60s at the college, and I had to work with the athletes, so I would go out to the track and watch them run. And I would ask this quote unquote stupid question to them, to my athletes, and I'd say, so do you always run to the left? And they said, yeah, excuse me, that is the way the track is designed, Judith. And I'd say, I know, but you understand you're always crossing the right over the left, and it just changes the pattern. What do you do to neutralize that? And they go,
we don't.
What is she talking about? Crazy. Now I've had enough experience that people hire me to help them figure out how do I neutralize from the shot put? How do I not neutralize? I'm going to tell you, I have told the story, so maybe you've heard it, Paula, and you can delete it if you like, but I was taking a class to a local place here, an exercise studio, enormous one, and all these strong athletes are in there lifting heavy weights and so on, and I'm taking my class around, and I see this one person who works for the facility following us. He's going from one section with weights to the section of bikes, and he's going, and he always picks up something and he's working, but I know that he's listening and so on and so forth. So I went over and I said, hey, are you interested in learning some of this information? He said, oh my goodness, my rotator cuffs are just flying. And I have a competition, he's up there with weightlifting competitions. And he said, I have a competition coming up and I'm in excruciating pain. I said, okay. So my husband took over teaching the class. I'm with this guy. So I said, okay, so let me see you do it the way you do it. And he does it. I said, okay, this time, he's lying flat on the bench, feet are on the floor. I said, this time, push off your right foot and place your left hand on the bar. Don't lift. Push off your left foot, place the hand on the bar. Push off both feet and lift. And he goes, oh my God. I said, was that easier? He goes, indeed. He kept doing it. I said, okay, you can stop now so we can talk. And he said, why did that work? I said, because you're using ground reaction force.
Yeah.
And that pushing off the earth helps your hands. So this is what was really cute. He leans in and he goes, Judith. I said, yeah. See those two men over to the left? I said, yeah, I see them. He said, don't share any of this information. They're my competitors.
You're going to say that? That's fantastic. Say nothing.
I said, I won't.
God, that's crazy. That's so much fun.
Isn't that fun? Yeah. And so it's just so much fun to teach this to children and adults. And I've done so many classes and trainings for seniors in their senior homes or centers or whatever. It's just so nice to be able to share this information.
Yeah, and that's what we're here too about, because what you've got, we've got classes that are running constantly, which is amazing. So I looked at this. You've got classes now organised by skill sets. So,
yeah, we have a lot of classes online now.
Yeah. Oh, so these are mostly on. A lot of these are on.
We're cranked up to do a whole bunch of live classes. If anyone wants to come to Hawaii in November, there are lots of classes we're teaching in Maui and Big Island.
I would love that. However,
it's just a bit away.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just that I'm nicking off to Croatia. There's 16 of us on 2 boats, and we're going to be pirates all night. So we're taking all our rum, because apparently our rum in Australia is better than the rum over. Who knows? I don't drink rum, but we've got our pirate shirts. We're ready for it.
Wow.
Otherwise, I'd be definitely at Maui. But tell me about these courses: seeing, moving, feeling.
Yeah. The seeing course is teaching people and the introduction. I mean, the content. I finally got this second edition done.
Oh, I love this book. This is the one that that Diane Matowski was over.
Waving, yeah. Aston assessment, and it goes through so many. For example, that you'll get a kick out of this guy. Okay, so here's one of my students.
Yeah. Got him.
Okay, there he is. Okay, and he's very athletic. Yep. Anyway, and so when you learn to see and you start looking at the two halves, you see they're not even. And so I put his two right sides together here and his two left sides together.
Just move it a little bit to your left. That's it. No, the other left. Oh, is that him there? Oh my gosh.
Isn't that interesting? So the reason being that a lot of people wouldn't notice that when I'm standing here and I have my weight over my left foot.
Yeah.
But I side bend and so on the other way, or I rotate the opposite. So I'm over here and I rotate. I'm taking much more width on this part. It's just a tiny little sliver on the other part. And so when you start to put the dental floss, for example, on the photograph, and you put it between the feet, kind of perpendicular up, you go, oh my goodness, their right side is very different dimension than their left side.
Yeah.
And then it starts to make sense why, as a right-handed body worker, they're always doing that and widening this side, for example, and why it's important to neutralize. So first of all, in terms of skills for therapists, being able to see as a movement teacher or yoga teacher, Pilates or body worker, seeing body patterns helps you understand what to do in your session and how to coach people afterward.
Yeah.
So seeing body patterns is really, and this is an introductory class, but it's only 2 days online, 3 or 4 days in person. And then, do you want me to go on, or did you have a comment about that?
No, feed the fish.
Okay. So the second introductory course is called Aston Moving, and that begins to introduce the concept of how to really understand how you can teach someone to find neutral, and teach your clients or your students how to find neutral, which helps to neutralize after an activity. So that's really, really helpful. That's can be also 2 days online. And then our 301, so 101 is seeing, the 201 is moving. The 301 is fascial integration. It's called the spiraling technique because the body is asymmetrical. And so we match it through asymmetry. That teaches our kind of entry-level, three-dimensional touch with body usage. And that one's live 3 or 4 days. In fact, I'm doing that in Hawaii.
So that's live only, because I was looking at the images on your website. Thought I was seeing people that were actually standing, leaning forward, and I thought, okay, some of them have got spiral. Like you could notably see spiral stuff, and I figured you're probably getting them into these positions and then doing whatever techniques to facilitate a more of a balanced position.
Yeah, it's so many people start with their hands, obviously, and we palpate. So you do start with your hands. But a lot of times body workers place their hands and they start putting weight into the hands. So they weight their hands on the body and then they back up with their feet. So let me hold on to something so I can do this. So
Yeah, you know.
the hands, and then they back up so they can push. And what happens is this push goes into my body to about there, and this push goes into my body up to here, and they meet and they compress each other.
Well,
So
okay.
it's a good way to stress my low back. But if I palpate and know where I want to go, but I set up with my feet first, and then I place my hands, the push off my feet goes right into my hands.
Yeah.
And the client gets all of my effort instead of my low back getting quite a bit.
That's super interesting. So, because my brain goes, surgeons working in hospitals, like they would not be thinking that first. Like all of their work is in with the hands, and the amount of people I know in theaters that have got terrible backs.
You know, it's so interesting because I have so many people thank me for their longevity in the field. You know, I mean, let's see, in few weeks I'll be 82, and I still do body work sessions. I don't do as many as I'm kind of busy doing a whole bunch of other things, but I do, and I love them. But teaching people how to really understand their body and then use their body in a way that works for them, and if it's stressing them in a certain way, how to neutralize afterward.
Yeah.
This is the combination that I find just so helpful.
I know that feeling. I love treating my patients, but I adore teaching therapists how to treat their patients or clients. We're almost getting caught for time, but I wanted to ask, there's 8,000 things I wanted to ask. What's next for you? Where are you? Like, you're teaching, you're becoming 82 years young soon. Is there a stop? Is there a time that you go, I'm going to rest with the kids and grandkids?
I don't know. I've just created a whole new advanced training for teaching because I've done so many sessions online over the 3 years as a webinar, private sessions. I've done so many sessions that I had to start teaching people to do their own body work while I'm coaching them.
Yeah.
And so now our practitioners that have trained in orthokinetics want the next piece of teaching their clients how to do that, so that they can also benefit from helping them in doing them sessions online.
No, that's amazing.
But for me, I do have this rather extensive history that I have snippets that I've written through the years and done a chapter for someone here and so on. But I would like to get that all down. However, one of my good friends and practitioners said to me, "Oh, Judith, people aren't interested in biographical books anymore. I don't think you should do it." And I said, "Okay, so I'm outdated before I even start that one, huh? Okay, I'll think about it."
No, you just look at all of the podcasts and audio books of authors or amazing people that put down their work. It may be in a book, but you'll see so many people that it'll convert to an audio book, and they'll be listening to you and your the history of how this all perpetuated, because it's brilliant. No, do not throw that baby out with the bathwater. So people who are in the Northern Hemisphere, the next courses for them are Maui or Hawaii.
And Big Island, Hawaii, yeah. I've done a lot of trainings for Pilates teachers and yoga teachers. In fact, we have a Aston series for yoga teachers and Aston series for Pilates. So I am going to be doing one for Pilates teachers in Maui. And that's so fun too. Oh my goodness. I have a lot of fun, in case you haven't gathered.
I'm sensing that, Judith. I'm definitely sensing that. There's been a lot of fun people out there, but you've got the most energy, I think, of you and John Sharkey, but that's a different energy again. Just the vibrance, and you can feel your vitality, your essence. And clearly it's just because you speak, you do what you speak. Yeah, you're true to your passion.
You know, it is interesting because even with serious injuries as the ski didn't release and it broke my tibial plateau all the way across, and then I fell on it and the tibia came out. Part of the tibia came out my leg, and they rebuilt it from my pelvis and so on and so forth. And when you have this kind of information, it's never too late to keep doing a little bit more with it, a little bit more, and you go, it's really still improving, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. I'm dying to try to get hold of Sharon Wheeler. She's one of the two women who design scar release work.
Yes.
And just reading, and it's the same thing. It's just working gently with the body and allowing space. And that's what I'm hearing more and more from beautiful practitioners, is that they design things around non-aggressive tools and using, as you said, the ground reaction force. How you can't get a bigger assistance from Mother Earth.
It's really great.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Judith. It's been wonderful. I'm actually not sure who I've got next month, because we've got it's actually next month today for us. It's the 1st of August, pinch and a punch. So I'm off to Croatia for a couple of weeks, and then Italy for a week, catching up with my beautiful eldest son and his wife. So maybe not something for August, but watch out for September. We'll try to get some more people in. And if you are interested in any more information on what Judith's got to offer, please look down in the chat box, because it's spread out all over there. There's the lives, there's the webinars, there's the face-to-faces. So there's so much content that you can get from Judith that you will move your skill set so much further forward. Thank you, Judith, so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Paula, for inviting me. This was fun.
Yeah. Well, that's the brief. It's got to be fun. It's got to be fun. All right. Thanks, everybody.
For now.
Yeah.